High School, and I am currently an art teacher with the Lancaster City Schools. Once again, I have teamed up with the Lancaster Festival to bring you a week of virtual art classes, so I hope you'll join us. We all know it's the most wonderful time of the year, and since I'll be home for Christmas, and so will many of you, we thought it might bring some holiday cheer to come up with a week full of holiday and winter crafts, ornaments, and gifts for you to make while you're at home and follow along with me. So I hope you'll join us. Let's get started. Do you want to build a snowman? Or maybe even two? We are going to be creating these two snowman ornaments today. What you're going to need are a few colors of acrylic paint. You're definitely going to need some white. You'll need orange, red, black, and at least one other color of your choice. I just have a paper plate here to put my paint out onto, a paper towel, and a cup of water so I can wash and dry my brush and keep it clean. You can use a small or a large paintbrush. You can use Q-tips. If you would like to hang these ornaments later with ribbon, I have the ribbon here pre-cut. For this second snowman here, you're also going to need a bag that looks like this. This was purchased in the Christmas craft section at Hobby Lobby. I'm sure any local craft store, maybe even the dollar store, carries this. It's just called foam pebbles, but it looks like snow, but really it's just styrofoam pebbles. You could also use white confetti. You could fill this clear ornament maybe with white M&Ms. You can really fill it with anything and just be creative. So the first thing that we're going to do today together is get a handprint on this ornament. This would make a nice keepsake gift for maybe a grandparent to have your child's handprint captured on there. If you have 3 people in your family, maybe you don't want to paint their entire hand, you could just have 3 fingers painted so that you would end up with 3 snowmen to represent the people in your family. So there's, again, no right or wrong way to do this. You're going to want to start by putting some white acrylic paint out onto the plate. I'm going to use my larger brush for this, and I'm going to paint my hand. Since my hand is a little larger, I'm just going to paint 3 fingers. I am going to paint the palm of my hand. That kind of makes it look like the snowmen are on a snowy piece of land. All right, so I'm going to take this one here, and I'm going to carefully make sure when you do this that your child's fingers are spread a little bit apart. You don't want them together, or you're not going to be able to tell the snowman apart. They'll look like a white blob. So keep your fingers a little bit apart. I'm going to set this in the palm of my hand, and then press my fingers carefully onto the bulb. And there we have the beginning of our 3 snowmen and a little bit of snowy ground below. I'm going to set that aside and let that dry. And you might want to go wash your hand at this point before we move on. After your handprint is dry on your ornament, you're ready to start decorating. I'm going to squirt out a variety of colors of acrylic paint. We don't need very much. I'm going to use some black and orange, a little bit of green and red. Completely your choice though, what colors you want to use. I have a very thin-tipped paintbrush that I'm going to be using to add some hats to my snowmen. So I'm going to dip my brush in the black paint. going to make a little brim of the hat. Make a little square on top. When that dries, I can go back and maybe add a ribbon on it. Maybe you don't want each of your snowmen to wear a black hat, so maybe your snowman will have maybe some kind of a winter toboggan. Wash and dry our brush. Anytime we want to change colors, maybe I'll give them a green little tassel up here at the top. Oops, I smeared it a little. There we go. I found when I was working on this one that after some of the colors dried, I did want to go over a second time, just because the first application is sometimes a little bit streaky and we can see through it. All right, you might want to put some earmuffs on your snowman. So I'm going to do a little green blob on each side. And maybe connect it with a little red stripe. So you can get creative with how you dress up your snowmen. I don't know how well that black hat is showing on this dark colored bulb, but I'm going to put another black hat right there. Okay, I'm going to wash and dry my brush. Now, you might find it easier to use the opposite end of your paintbrush if it's nice and pointy, and put the dots for his eyes and his mouth using the wooden end of your paintbrush. Sometimes that's easier than trying to control the bristles. All right, we need a little orange nose. I am going to use the bristles for this. You might even want to practice painting a little nose on the plate before you try it on the actual ornament, because you need a pretty delicate touch. You can add buttons down his chest. You could add scarves. If you have some brown paint, you could make little stick arms. Lots of fun things that you can do to decorate your snowmen. Just to show you, I'm going to put a little scarf on one of them. And then I like to make the two ends coming down. I'm going to use that wooden end of my stick again and make some dots like that. So have some fun with it. Be creative. And then the last thing you might want to do is add some snowflakes. So I need a little more white paint. Set that there. I'm going to use that wooden end of my paintbrush again and just randomly put some dots on your ornament. You could even turn it around and do it all the way around. Maybe you could write the date, the year on the back of the bulb if you're giving this as a gift. All right, and then I've found that if you tie that ribbon and maybe hang it over a knob of your kitchen cabinet or somewhere, you could hang it up to let it dry. That way you don't have to set it down on the table and risk smearing. But there is our first snowman ornament. The second snowman ornament that we are going to be making together is this little guy right here. I've tied a ribbon so that it can be easily hung up, and this is actually just a clear plastic bulb that I purchased at a local craft store in the Christmas craft section, and we are going to fill it with these little foam pebbles. But you could get creative. If you don't have these or you can't find these, you could fill it with white tissue paper, white M&Ms, some kind of candy. So just be creative. Maybe even white confetti that people use in gift wrap bags. So all we're doing here is filling the bulb and then painting on a face. All right, so I'm going to start by tying a piece of ribbon through my bulb. I like getting the ribbon on there and getting it out of the way, and then you have a way to hang the ornament as it is drying. Okay, and then the next step is very carefully pulling this little ornament topper out, like that. Okay, we are going to want to fill it now with these little balls. And what I have found works best is snipping just a teeny tiny corner of the bottom of the bag and kind of using that to funnel them into place. So here we go. So once you have filled your clear bulb with some snow, we need to carefully reattach this topper. There we go. So now we're ready to decorate. So you could use a Q-tip for this. You could use a small paintbrush. But I'm going to start by putting 2 eyes for my snowman's face. All right, you can also make some black spots for his mouth. Okay, so it looks like this. I'm going to take another Q-tip and I'm going to work on his nose. Don't be scared to make a carrot nose. I'm going to show you a little trick. So just about in between his eyes, I'm going to make an oval like that. I'm going to get a little more orange and I'm going to make another oval that's a little bit smaller than the first and end it with a dot. You might decide to make it a little bit longer. I'm going to add a bigger oval back here and kind of beef those up a little bit. There's an oval, there's an oval, and then my Q-tip's getting kind of fuzzy. There. Easy way to make a nose, just connected ovals. All right, now I think the pink cheeks on our example adds a nice touch. So if you have some pink paint, that's fantastic. If not, you can make your own by putting just a tiny bit of red paint into our white and mixing that up till you get the desired pink color that you want. Okay, and then I'm going to take a clean Q-tip and give him a little color on his cheek like that. And then I'm going to take the end of a paintbrush, dip it into the white, and I'm going to put a little highlight on my snowman's eyes like that. I'm going to keep mine pretty simple, but feel free to be creative and add some more decorations of your own. And there it is, the finished product. Thanks for joining me along with the Lancaster Festival and creating some art with us. We hope you have yourself a merry little Christmas